Hi everyone, it's Hannah from Hand Done Crochet, and today we are making this really cute summer crochet skirt together. The pattern comes in sizes extra small through to 5XL, and I'll put the information in the description below about where you can find the pattern on the blog, where you can get the PDF from, and all the materials and information that you will need. So before we begin, we'll have a look at the yarn we're going to use. Is Comfy from WeCrochet. It's a really lovely cotton and acrylic mix, and this is the sport weight. Now they do two other weights in this, so make sure that you get the sport weight for this pattern. And we get 136 yards in 50 grams. This colour here is sea foam, and the colour that we're going to be making it in today is parchment. Along with your yarn, you're going to need a 4mm crochet hook, or the hook that matches the gauge for you, and then a pair of scissors and a needle for your ends. So before we get cracking, let's have a quick look at the construction of the skirt, so hopefully it makes a bit more sense as we are making it. We're going to begin with this waistband that's worked back and forth in rows of single crochet, and then when we've completed that, we will join that to make the ring. And then we work around the edges. You'll see that we join to the edges of the sides of these rows here, and that then will help us go downwards to work this wedge stitch that we have. Now this one I have chosen to work the whole thing in a closed wedge stitch, but I'm going to show you a version that I've used on other clothing that I have made with this stitch, of a lace version that you can do. We just miss out a couple of stitches and add chains instead. And the great thing about this, and it's all detailed in the pattern, is that you can use that wherever you would like to within the design. So we go around and around and around and join at the sides as we go, but then at whichever point you would like to, or if you would like to, or if you don't want to, it's completely up to you, we can start then going back and forth in rows so that we can have then a really nice little side split for where your thighs are, where your knees are, wherever you would like it to be. And the great thing about this is you can just carry on going for as long as you like. You can make your skirt as short or as long as you like. So let's get going. So to start us off, for all sizes, we are going to put a slip knot on the hook, and we are going to chain 15. Now this will set the depth of your waistband, and if you want a wider or a shorter waistband, then that's absolutely fine. Just chain the amount that you would like, but bear in mind that that will then, if you're going off the schematic in the pattern, will affect the length that your skirt will be. So then once you've got your chain there, we are going to work into the back bumps, and working in the second chain from the hook, we're going to work a single crochet, and then you're just going to work a single crochet in the remaining back bumps of this row. So my chain 15 will now turn into 14 single crochet stitches for this row. So at the end of that row, we are going to turn, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only of each of the stitches across. So turn it on its end, look for that back loop there, and work our way into that. So all the way across. Now if you are worried about it pulling slightly, then you can always work the very last stitch into the full part of the stitch rather than into the back loop. So if you would like to, you can work this last stitch into the full part of the stitch rather than the back loop, but do just make sure that you pull up to meet the height of your other stitches of that row. And then that's it. Row 2 is our repeat. You're going to turn, and you're going to chain 1, and you will single crochet in the back loop only of each of the stitches across. And this is where we have a different number of rows for different sizes. So I'm going to be making the size medium here, and so I need 120 rows of this. So do check in the pattern for the size that you're making and work the appropriate amount of rows, and then meet me back here and I'll show you how we turn it into a ring and then start the skirt portion of it. So once you have the number of rows that you need for the size that you're making, we are going to be joining these to form it into a ring. Now I'm going to be doing this. I've chained 1, and now I'm going to be matching up the stitches from this first row to the row that we have just done. And I'm going to join them with a slip stitch seam, just matching stitch for stitch all the way along. And now this will be on the inside of your skirt. This is going to be the wrong side, and we're going to in a moment turn it so that we're going to work on the right side. And there we have it joined. So as I say, this is the wrong side, so now we're going to flip around so that we now can work around the bottom of this band, which is then going, this will be the top of our skirt, and this will become our skirt, part of our skirt. Now this setup round for the skirt is probably the trickiest bit of the entire pattern, but as you'll see in the written pattern, it will tell you exactly how many of these stitches we need to get around the skirt and how many sides of rows that you need to skip each time that you're working one. So for this size, and bear in mind all of the sizes are completely different because the waistband ratio to your hip ratio is completely different, and that is a good part of this, because if your waistband fits you nicely, then what you can do, and your hips are say larger or smaller than the pattern and the average size, then what you can do is just work the amount of stitches and wedge stitches that we're going to work here to suit your hip size. Now it may take a bit of experimenting, but it's very well worth it, and the pattern itself will work for, as I say, if you're standard measurements, but who's a standard measurement, hey? So this is a really good way of figuring out what will fit you best. So to begin with then, we are going to chain one, and then we're going to work a single crochet into the side of that first stitch that we have there. And then we're going to begin by working the first part of our wedge stitch. So that begins by chaining 6, and then I'm going to work the closed wedge stitch to begin with, and then I'll show you the lace version in a moment. And we're going to work into the second chain from the hook. We're going to work a single crochet, and then in the next chain we work a half double crochet, so we're getting to a bigger stitch each time. Then we do a double crochet, and then we're going to work a treble, which is 2 yarns over before we go in, and then a double treble, which is 3 yarns over before we insert the hook. And once we have all of those stitches made, I'll go much slower on the next one, I just want you to see the shape that we're making. We have a triangle, and once that triangle is made, we now need to lay this flat against here and skip the right amount of sides of rows before we then join again. So for this is our first one that we're joined to, and we're going to skip the next 3. So we're going to skip 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to join into the next side of the row there, and that single crochet anchors it to the waistband there. And so then we then work another part of this wedge stitch in this place here. So we're going to chain 6, and then do just what we did here. We're going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, then a half double crochet, which is a yarn over into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then a double crochet, which is a yarn over into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and then a treble crochet, which some people call it a triple, some people call it a treble. We then go into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and then our double treble, which is longer still. We do 3 yarn overs, and then into the last chain there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's how we make this part of the wedge stitch. And then we're going to skip the next 3 sides, so 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet into the next. Now do remember that the numbers change for each size here. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you're making a different size to the medium that I'm doing here, you will need to go and check in the pattern for how many you need to skip to get the right number of wedge stitches as you go around here. But essentially that's all we need to do. Follow the sequence for the size that you're making and end up, it's going to look like a funny crown, isn't it? So work your way around and then meet me back here when you're ready to join, and then we'll be turning and we'll be working the next row. Okay, so you may notice that I've worked an awful lot more now than when we last spoke, and that's because I realised I completely forgot to show you how to join. So once we have done, I'm on a lace wedge version at the moment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to join to the beginning of this round now to begin the next one. So this is a row 3 repeat, and I've done my long stitch here, my double treble, and what I now need to do is slip stitch into this single crochet that was at the beginning of the round. So slip stitch into that one, and then once you've done that, you are ready to turn, and we're going to work the next round, and then we are going to chain 5, and then into the single crochet that we have here. So we've had our tallest stitches right down to our smallest stitch of the single crochet here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 stitches. In that 5th stitch from the hook, we are going to work a single crochet. And that gets us in the right place to then fill in this gap and do another triangle to fill in that section here. And the way we do that, we're going to match the stitches, and we're going to be working in the back of the chain, so the unused loop of the chain, and work a single crochet, and that's opposite where the single crochet is. Then a half double crochet in the next one where the half double crochet is. Then a double crochet, you probably guessed where the double crochet is. And then our treble crochet, gosh, the words are escaping me today, and then our double treble in the last one there. So all the heights of the stitches will all match each other, and what that will do is that it will make this kind of box for us. What that now means is we're already up at the height that we need to be, and we're going to find the single crochet of this next wedge stitch here, and we're going to work a single crochet in it, and that joins it to the next one. And then we're just going to carry on working down this side of this one, matching the stitches again. So a single crochet, a half double crochet, double crochet, that's my dog grumbling, a treble, and then a double treble in that last one. And so we just continue in this way all the way around, filling in all of those gaps, and then we single crochet into the single crochet of the next wedge. So carry on working all the way until you get around to here, and then once you have done your last set along this wedge, join me back and I'll show you. We're basically just going to slip stitch into here before we then turn and work the next row. So here we are back at the start, and now to join I'm going to be slip stitching into the top of this chain 5 that we have. And then once you've done that, we are going to turn, and you're going to flip it inside on itself, and then we're ready to begin again. And all we're going to be doing is setting up in exactly the same way, so chaining 1 and then single crochet here, and then we'll begin by chaining 6, and we're going to work a single crochet into the next stitch. And now you can continue to work a closed wedge stitch if you like, just as we've done here, or you can work a lace wedge stitch, as I've called them, at any point of the skirt. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we begin in the same way with that chain 6 and our single crochet, and then all we do is a chain 1 rather than doing the half double crochet in this next chain. So we skip that next chain and then we go straight for a double crochet in the next chain along. And then we skip the next one, we chain and we skip, and then we go for it and do that long double treble in that very last chain. So the only difference that we have is that you have chain spaces for 2 of the stitches. And then when you've done that, we are then going to skip the next 5 stitches along here and then go for the long stitch of the next wedge. That's how I always look at it. The long stitch of the next wedge, and into that we're going to work a single crochet. And that's the same whether you're working a closed or a lace wedge stitch here. And then you just carry on chaining 6, and then we're back along that and then join to the next one. So work all the way around, and then when you get back to here, we slip stitch just as we did before, and then you'll be ready to turn your work, then chain 5, and then begin again to close up those stitches. You create the wedges, whether you're doing the close wedge or the lace wedge, you create them in the same way. And that's all there is to know then. You need to carry on working those rounds until you get to the point if you would like to split for the sides here. And the way that we do that is we work back and forth in rows rather than in rounds. If at any point you decide that you want to stop working in rounds and actually have splits at the side, you need to then begin working in rows. And the way to do that is, now we've completed and joined this one, you're going to turn, work your single crochet and then start your wedge stitches, but only work up until half of your skirt. So that would be either the front or the back. And then once you've got to the halfway point, you turn and you go back the other way. So at this point then you would work the front section of however long you want it to be to have the side split. And then what you would do is you would break your yarn once it's the length you want it to be, turn it over, rejoin here, and then start to work the other portion of it to fill in the rest of the back there. So that's another option that you can try to add a bit more detail to your skirt. To make the waistband tie, I just use foundation single crochet stitches, and it's all detailed in the pattern as to my suggestion of how long it should be, but you can make yours as long or as short as you like. But for the size that I'm making, I'm going to put a slip knot on the hook, and then I'm going to make about 288 foundation single crochet stitches. And so the way we do that is that we chain 2 to begin with, and then going into the second chain from the hook, we go in, yarn over and pull through, and then we yarn over and we pull through just one of the loops, and then we yarn over and we pull through 2 loops. And that now gives us this space here, which is that yarn over and pull through 1, that then means we can put our hook in, yarn over and pull through, and we're ready to make another stitch. We yarn over and pull through 1, and then we yarn over and pull through 2. And lo and behold, we now have another one ready to work into. So we put our hook into there, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through 2. And that is all there is to it for the waistband. You just make as many stitches as you like. As I say, all the different sizes have got suggestions within the written pattern, but you go for it and make yours as long or as short as you like. And then once you've got your waistband tie done, meet me back and I'll just show you how we easily thread it through the waistband. So here I am with my waistband. I have weaved in my ends already, but what I wanted to say is that I shouldn't have done that before showing you this, because what I did was I put a needle on the thread on the end here in order to then weave it through these stitches. There's a good amount of space, or enough space definitely, between these stitches for you to get them through. And now my waistband, I put it through into the center stitch, but you can have it higher if you want, you can have it lower if you want, you can have it wherever. Just make sure that you are consistent with it, and also work a consistent number of spaces between where you loop it in, because that will make it just look much neater. And so you need to begin just off to the center of your waistband so that you then meet there back in the middle, and you can then use it to tie your skirt. I really hope you've enjoyed crocheting this skirt with me. I cannot wait to see all the different versions with the lengths, the stitches, whether you use the lace or the closed. I really can't wait to see it. So do come and find me and show me what you make, and I will see you again soon.